Hey guys, what's up? It's Jeff. I'm back with another league race, and it's at Miami this week, which is a track that before I started preparing for this race, I had never raced in my life. I had never done a lap. I'd only watched it on TV and on Yarno Watmir's YouTube channel. So, look, we'll get into it in a minute, but it didn't start off well. I put in a banker lap, decent, it was all right. And then here you see my second lap. And I get spun around and I'm all out of sorts, and then I brake just in time to stay out of Juzzy's way, but it looks like I ended up wrecking him anyway. And then trying to get off the wall, I just sort of correct a little bit and get in the line of Vols 8840. Just not a good start. I apologize to both of those guys, and I feel terrible about it. Obviously, I didn't mean to get in their way. Vols kind of gets in my way there. It looked like he retired on track and gets in my way a little bit. I don't know that it made much of a difference. We'll get into that in a second as well. But this race, guys, I will just be quite honest with you. I hope that you'll watch the rest of this video, but it does not go very well for me. And there are a few reasons for that. I think part of that is the fact that literally this race was on a Wednesday night. I ran my first laps on this track on Saturday. And that's on me, obviously. Like, I'm the one who set the calendar for this league. I should know what races are coming up and put more time in on them. But I did not feel that comfortable on this track, and I've felt comfortable on other tracks that we've raced. And I'm talking no assists here. I mean, if I had racing line on, it would be different. If I had the protection of some traction control and ABS and auto gears and stuff. I mean, if you're running full assists, you can jump in, you can run a track without really any prep at all and put up an okay lap. You put in 20, 30 minutes of prep before the race, and you can be honestly pretty freaking good. I have learned the hard way that it's not really like that when it comes to running no assists at all. I mean, I really have to understand the track. I really have to be good at it. And frankly, I just wasn't very good at Miami going into the race. I put up a decent lap here for my third lap of qualifying, and I was really happy with that. I went up 2 spots. I skipped Falls 8840 and Tweed Dad and put myself in a P17, which is obviously not as high as we'd like to be starting. I'd like to be on the front row of the grid, but frankly, it just wasn't a possibility. You see the top times are a 127.7, and I came in around a 131.7. So not great at all. But to compound matters, we get into the race, and it is wet. And I will be honest with you, I had run 0 wet laps at Miami before this race. Seems like an oversight, but I didn't do it. And I go a little bit deep on my first braking point there and hit the back of Steven AJ, and might have seen my wing pop up in front of my car. The good news is, I mean, if you hit somebody in the back in this game, it's almost impossible to give them any damage on standard damage. So I'm glad that I hopefully didn't negatively impact anyone else, but obviously not ideal. I get past pretty quickly by Vols 8840 here on the opening lap, which does not surprise me. I'm kind of feeling out the grip a little bit. I'm sliding around a little bit. I'm not feeling great. I'm going to try to make the best of it, of course, no question, but I'm certainly not feeling great. And that's about halfway through the first lap there. Fast forward a little bit to the end of the first lap, and we see Call Me maybe retire from the session, a little bit of a DNF action. So I get one place for free, so that's nice. Call Me maybe didn't complete a lap. I was fortunate enough to complete at least one lap, so I did get that place. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that a lot of the places that I pick up during the race, it's a lot of war of attrition. It's just staying on the track. It's not wrecking. It's, even if I mess up, not compounding it and making it worse, just sort of taking my lumps when I get them and trying to move on and stay in the race and stay safe and hopefully benefit from other guys crashing out of the race or wrecking or just making poor decisions or doing the wrong thing, and just really surviving, just survival and just staying on track and at least finishing the race, right? And I really pride myself on how often I finish races. You see Juzzy get by me there. I make a little bit of a move to go inside, and I lock up a little bit and just completely lose all ability to turn. And I really thought after the lockup I was going to be able to turn in. I didn't do it at all, and I hit the side of Juzzy. I made sure to let him pass me after that little incident, and I think Moose got by me as well, and I think maybe Whizbang was behind me also. I'm not positive about that, but all those guys get by me. And the main thing for me was just making sure that Juzzy got by. I mean, obviously, I ran into him. It would be ridiculous for me to keep that place. And I talked to him after the race. Unfortunately, he didn't have any damage. He wasn't upset about it. Of course, I apologized to him. I mean, obviously, it's my fault. I locked up and went right into the side of him, and that's on me. But I apologized to him, and he wasn't mad. Unfortunately, didn't have any damage and was able to still compete in the race, which is good, right? That's what I care about. But you see a fast forward there. Stephen AJ actually ended up retiring because of his connection, which I commend him for. I always tell the guys in the league that, hey, if you're gonna have connection issues, I would love if you would recognize that and get out of the race when you start to see that they're going to be a problem, or in qualifying or in practicing or whatever, just getting yourself out of the race and not cause issues for other people. So I really commend him for doing that. That's exactly what I hope the guys will do, and he did that, and I appreciate that, and that's awesome of him. But fast forward back to my race. We're on lap 5 here. Big ride guy apparently crashed out. I think he ended up retiring. So he didn't actually have a DNF, but he did retire. So he's effectively out of the race. I mean, he's got the AI running for him on track, and it will be doing something, but he's not going to be competitive. The AI is way too low. You see Alex as well took a little bit of a spin, and I think he ends up either DNFing or retiring. I don't remember the specifics, but I got a little faked out there. So Tweed Dad gets past me, and I got a little faked out. I actually thought that we were at the breaking point, but we were not yet at the breaking point. So that was, I guess, beneficial for me. And what I just showed you in that clip there is, for some reason, I went up one space despite nothing happening. I don't really know what that was, but hey, we'll take it. We're in P15 at this point. It's lap 12. I thought was interesting. So Moose in front of me is on the mediums, and if you're looking at the screen, you can probably see it's not dry at all. The track was not ready for slicks. The medium, frankly, respectfully, was the wrong choice. It was a terrible choice. And I mean, I do think that those guys that he's doing what he needs to do to try to maybe make an adventurous call, kind of like Sebastian Vettel last year at Turkey, was that? 2021 Turkey, if I remember correctly. You see Juzzy as well putting on the mediums, and Juzzy and Moose are actually teammates. So I think actually what was going on there is they actually had a race engineer, Bode95, who ended up not racing this week, just issues with Miami, I think, and ended up engineering for those guys, and I guess told both of them to go on to mediums, and it didn't really work out. You saw me gap Moose very, very quickly after he went onto the mediums, and you didn't see it with Juzzy, but I built up quite a lead on him very quickly because he was on the mediums and the track was not ready for mediums at all. So I was the benefit of those guys' misfortune or daringness or willingness to try something new, which I guess is good for them. Maybe I would have done better if I'd tried to try something new, but for the moment, I sort of got the advantage over them, which was nice. You saw Whizbang get past me there pretty easily. That doesn't surprise me. Whizbang is much faster than I am. Whizbang was faster than I was before I went to no assists, and now that I'm on no assists, he's certainly faster than I am. And KB is very quickly coming up on my tail. It seems like he's going to be able to pass me with relative ease very, very quickly. Obviously, at this third section, or this third sector of Miami is pretty difficult, or the second sector, I guess it is. The second sector is very bendy. There was no way he was going to get past me during this section, but I knew that he was going to get past me as soon as we came to the straight. So I was accepting of that. I was willing to let it happen. And at this point in the race, my thinking, well, first, let's see how this ends with KB. I was trying to give him a lot of space, ended up locking up on the outside, and I was nowhere close to him after that, and he very easily gapped me. But fast forward quite a few laps here. You may have seen I was roughly 28, 29 seconds of Moose and Juzzy, and I squandered that over 10 to 15 laps. And my hope was that I could end the race in front of those guys. Just war of attrition. I think they've pitted. I haven't pitted yet. You can see the front tire wear is up over 60%. I need to stay below 75 so I don't get a puncture, but I'm feeling okay for the moment. I kind of let Moose by there because I was obeying the blue flags, and then I did obey the blue flags there, and Thug got past me so easily, but it also looks like Moose kind of didn't hesitate or didn't slow down at all and got past me very quickly as well. So I don't know, maybe I kind of played myself there by obeying the blue flags, because it kind of seems like a lot of people don't obey the blue flags. And here's another example, actually. I blue flag let ISI boy through, but Juzzy was right on the heels of him, and honestly, I couldn't tell which was which. So maybe I was a little bit conservative with that, but I felt like the smart move was just stay out of the way, let the blue flags through. And I ended up playing myself by letting Juzzy through also. And I think maybe, possibly, we'll get into this, but you see that he's about 3 seconds ahead of me on track. He's got a 3-second penalty. It's very possible that I would have been able to stay within range of him if I hadn't let him breeze past me. But hindsight's 2020, I guess. If I didn't want to let cars through, maybe I shouldn't have gotten lapped. Something to consider for future races. So you may have seen there, Vols 8840. You didn't see this, but I got lapped by him earlier in the race, and he was firmly in control of this race. I mean, he was like 30 to 45 seconds. Well, I don't know if that's true. He was substantially in front of the second place driver, say. Unfortunately, I found out after the race, his wheel, Vols 8840's wheel, actually disconnected of its own accord with about 3 laps to go in the race. He disconnects. He immediately hits a wall, I think, DNFs, and Say ends up winning the race. Good for Say, but it would have been interesting to see what kind of gap Vols had to Say at the end of the race if he hadn't lost his wheel completely. So, unfortunate for him. Frankly, it was unfortunate for me. Not a great race. Lucky to end up with P14, frankly. It could have been so much worse. Just really not a good race for me. But thanks for watching, guys. We will be back, hopefully, with a better performance in the next one.